Good morning, natural gas. It's Tuesday, August the 25th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggans, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot September natural gas contract, we're down. We're down to 275.70, down 7.8 cents or over 2.75%. What's going on? Well, we've got hints of fall coming, and yet we still cannot get LNG to rally as much as it should. And as you can see right here, the RSI is trying to turn lower. But let's turn to the hourly chart, and here we have it. We're below the daily pivot, which came in today at 282.90, 2829. The RSI right now is trying to turn to the upside. So we're going to keep a careful eye right now at the 50% mark between the two daily pivots here. The first support, which we're through right now, which was at 276.70, and our secondary support 269.90. So right now we're watching that 50% level right there at 273.3. If the market cannot get below that level, look for a rally back up at least to that first support, now resistance at 276.70. Let's take a look at what's going on in the grid. And here is ERCOT. Here in Texas, it is hot. It is very hot. It is 90,000 megawatts right now as expected today. And as you can see, renewables are looking at just above 37,000 megawatts. What's going on? Well, wind. When it's this hot, it is just absolutely very, very low for wind production. And as you can see right now, natural gas is picking up over 48% of the fuel mix right now, over 31,000 megawatts. That is going to be a good day for natural gas and going forward for the next few days as well. Let's turn to the national grid. And as you can see, ERCOT is expected to be the big dog today, over $110 per megawatt. And PJM, SPP, and of course MISO are right behind it. But you can see some volatility right now in ISO New England. So we've already popped up here over $263. Early morning volatility there. Let's turn to the front to back spreads, and this is our storage spread. This is Jan versus October, and we're rallying right now. As you can see, we're up 3 cents here to 111.90 right now. RSI is trying to turn to the upside. What does this tell us? Well, we're below 125, but it is starting to say that we're starting to see some injections, especially toward the new sort of upper northeast, let's say, and upper midwest. We'll start to see some more injections here as cooler temperatures start to focus in here, because we are looking at potentially fall-like conditions up north. Let's turn to the heat risk here, and as you can see right now, we've got major heat risk here, mainly in Texas. Extreme heat risk for over 15.2 million people, centered around Houston, right around here. It is just absolutely ungodly hot. And Dallas, of course, all the way down what is called the Edwards Plateau. So that would pick up Austin, San Antonio, Waco. Let's take a look going forward. That continues on Wednesday. Arizona, of course, and parts of even Southern California are going to bake here. And that continues into Thursday and Friday. And then as you can see, this heat starts to expand. Come Saturday, it pushes north up into the Dakotas and Nebraska and Iowa. This is shifting east. There is major heat risk here now from Texas all the way back to Iowa. And then that pushes east up into the Tennessee and Kentucky areas into the lower Ohio valleys. So we're still looking at some very, very warm temperatures. Even as you can see, some cooler temperatures are pushing into Maine and parts of the upper Midwest like North Dakota and Minnesota. Let's take a look at the forecast model beyond the first here. And as you can see, let's take a look here. Let's push the play button. There we go. We start to see some cooler temperatures coming into the Northeast. This late heat is starting to push out of Texas up the East Coast. There is a brief period here, as you can see right there on the 5th, that we get some northeast temperatures in the 90s. New York City especially up toward 96 degrees. Chicago only 86 though. As we move further and further along the forecast here, there is September the 6th. So we get the temperatures up in the upper state New York in the 90s. That's unusual here. Boston, where I just came from, 94 degrees. But then as you can see, we get into the 7th. And there's the 7th right there. There's some still warm temperatures along the eastern coast back into Texas here. But look at West Texas. West Texas down into the 70s as a cold front is starting to come through there. And as you can push here through the forecast, looks like fall-like temperatures are coming into the upper Midwest here. And of course, New England as we get a little further in the forecast. There it is, that last front there. 40s in the Dakotas coming in, 30s up in Wyoming. So looks like summer is about to exit stage left. And here is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Above normal temperatures are anchored in Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, even Kansas. And there it is again for the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words today. And let's take a look at the monthly temperature outlook. This is for September. And again, above normal temperatures are still anchored from Texas all the way back up into North Carolina. And of course, in the interior west. Why? Because there's drought. It continues to be very, very dry in the interior west. Let's turn to Europe. And Europe is doing a little bit better here. There are some warmer temperatures coming in here right now. And that is pushing out, as you can see, on Friday, cooler temperatures coming into Spain and France here. That's important. Then there's still some warm temperatures in Germany, though. And then it starts to get a little bit warmer right there on September the 5th. That is very warm for Spain, France, and Germany. And then that pushes back out by the 8th. So that's good news there. But then look on the 8th. There is some warmer temperatures starting to creep back into Spain, the UK, and France. Eastern Europe is cool at that time. And let's take a look at what else is going on. Well, the TTF contract. That's right. This is for January. This is the winter contract here. RSI is pointing higher even as we make new highs. Why? Because the Strait of Hormuz is closed, or at least it appears to be. Mainly because ships are taking their transponders off and trying to transit the strait through the Oman Passage. So that's the lower passage through the Strait of Hormuz, possibly under U.S. military escort. But as you can see from storage, here we go. The UK, 30% full. Folks, it's almost September. This is not good news for the UK. And remember that Orman Lang problem, that's going to impact them directly. Here is, of course, Belgium at 49%, so still below 50% full. Same thing for the Netherlands and Latvia. Latvia at 45%, Netherlands at 44%. So we've got some problem countries inside the EU. Let's take a look at Asia, and this is the same picture. We've got warmer temperatures from Shanghai back up to Beijing, but we do start to see some brief periods of cold start to push in from Mongolia and upper parts of Siberia here. We do see warmer temperatures start to make a return back on the September 2nd here. But then, as you can see, late in the forecast, there's some cooler weather right there, September the 8th. So, looks like summer is exiting for China and parts of Southeast Asia in the first week of September. Let's turn to LNG, and there is nothing loading at Ras Laffan. That's right, nothing is loading at this time. Let's peek over at the Strait of Hormuz itself. As you can see, there are some ships still clustered around Dubai and Oman, and of course near Bandar Abbas, because there's a blockade from the U.S. military on Iranian transit. So, looks like things are starting to pick up a little bit here. We still see some clusters. Again, you'll watch the passage toward the Omanian side here, so that is important. We'll see if LNG tankers are making the passage. Here is Cameron LNG in the U.S. running nice and steady, just under 1.49. Freeport starting to stabilize here, about 1.2 BCF right now. There is still some maintenance going on. It is starting to stabilize. Hopefully they'll come out of maintenance here in the next day or so. And here is Creole Trail, one of the pipelines that feeds Sabine Pass. And right now we still have some open capacity here, but it is running a little better here at 1.37 out of 1.7. How about Corpus Christi? Well, they've come out of maintenance, but they are still ramping up. Parts of it are what I call big box LNG facilities. They take some time, sometimes days or sometimes even weeks to stabilize here and return to full service. The modular units can return much quicker, but we are running at 1.86 BCF out of 2.75. So we need to start seeing some ramp up here as cooler temperatures start to come in. And here is Venture Global's Calcasieu Pass, steady as she goes right there. How about Plaquemines? Again, steady, almost at nameplate capacity here. That's good news. Also some good news, Golden Pass running at 585,000. Good news for Train 1. Again, as cooler temperatures start to make their way into the U.S. Gulf area, hopefully by the end of September, we'll start to see this ramp up toward nameplate capacity of 800 to 850,000 MMBTUs. How about the drought? Well, let's take a look. It's still very, very big drought here out west, in particular parts of Oklahoma, now New Mexico, and of course Colorado and Idaho are really doing quite poorly here. This is really what we call exceptional drought conditions here in those parts. In particular, Colorado is important because it's the headway for basically 4 river systems here. So that's not good news. The headwaters there, I should say, and that is going to mean lower water output all the way down into California and parts of New Mexico, as well as Arizona. So let's take a look at the tropics here. And yes, we've got some activity in the mid-Atlantic here. 40% chance. This is heading up to Newfoundland here, and Newfoundland, excuse me. And of course, this is 70% chance. This is the eastern tropical area here, and that has got a better chance, but it is pushing to the north of the Windward and Leeward Islands. There is our tropical hazard outlook here for the first 2 weeks of September here, or I should say the first week of September and the later part of this week. As you can see, mainly the mid-Atlantic has got the hottest output here, over 20%. Let's take a look at it. The water temperatures in the U.S. Gulf are very, very warm, as well as the Caribbean. But let's take a look. There is the Gulf of America / Mexico. And yes, this system here was making for some bumpy rides coming back into Houston last night. But as you can see, nothing is developing at this time. Let's take a look at the broader picture, and there it is. That system there has about a 20% chance of developing or higher, and this one over here has a 70% chance. So we'll see if this continues, but let's take a look at the path. Yep, it goes out to sea. That's right. This main path here in black is the most probable path, and as you can see, it is too far north right now to make any threat to the U.S. Gulf Coast. How about the tropics? Well, yeah, there's the Saharan air layer again. That is going to inhibit any kind of storm development, and it is impacting this system right up here. Right now, as you can see, that dust is hooking around the system, and that secondary system is right around here. So it is pushing out some of that dust. The U.S. Gulf Coast is clear of dust for the moment. And let's turn to the stocks in the oil and gas E&P sector. Stocks between $2 and $10 billion have a high short float over 10%. And as you can see, today has been a down week, or down day, I should say. Everything is in the red. Behind me, CNX down 1.58%. So again, recapping right now for the September spot contract, we're down to 276.30, down 7.2 cents or 2.54%. RSI is turning lower, so we'll expect a little bit further weakness, possibly a late bounce in the session later today. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.